And so the problem is that coalitions wasn't able to work to its fullest extent of of leveraging and supporting the other departments. Again, I think that because of the structural problem that it was tucked into as a subset of the political department. In coalitions itself, and I kind of alluded to it previously, part of the problem again is the conflict between pigeonholing and cross-pollination. Those of us that are at the forefront of coalition building, again, realize that, yes, we may be Hispanic, but we don't only fall under the Hispanic classification in the coalition structure, okay? There are Hispanic evangelicals, Hispanic Catholics that fall under social conservatives. There are Hispanic businessmen and women that should fall under fiscal conservatives, and they should not be pigeonholed into just being part of the Hispanic coalition. My view is that these coalitions need to kind of cross-pollinate with each other, because the more talking points that you, or the more touch points that you can establish with an individual, the stronger that relationship is going to be, and the more that you're going to be able to maximize that individual's output for political activity. Okay, movie music. And I'm glad that our co-chairman mentioned this in her remarks. The other problem is, for too long, we've been referring to coalition work as outreach. It's not outreach. It's outreach and inclusion. They're two parts. And we need to make sure that members of the Hispanic coalition and of all coalitions are actually involved in the mechanics of the party, and not just being, spoken to because, immigration came up. And we need to make sure that at all levels, that Hispanics and the individual coalition members are actually integrated into the decision-making processes. Let's see. Okay. This problem that I'm talking about is not just an RNC problem. The structure problem also happens with the other organizations, the other Republican organizations. It's not only the RNC, it's the NRCC, the NRSC, the RGA, because these all make up the Republican family of related organizations. Okay, and so if we're talking just to the RNC, that's just part of it. We need to have dialogue and conversations with these other Republican organizations. And it's not only the organizations on the federal level. The states are what constitutes the RNC. And many of us who have been doing this for a while realize, quite honestly, that some of our state parties are part of the problem. And that we need to make sure that we can drill down into the states and make sure that there's a coalition effort in the individual states. Coalitions doesn't happen here from the building next door. It happens out in the field. I think the last challenge that I want to talk about is, for the party is, and for the RNC, is that we need to do a better job of recruiting Hispanic candidates. We need, and not only recruiting Hispanic candidates, but identifying, recruiting, and supporting Hispanic candidates. I like to equate politics like baseball, and if you don't have a good bench, how the hell are you going to field a good team? So we need to get more, and the pool is vast. The problem is that nobody's really wanted to volunteer for the job because they see themselves as sacrificial lambs. Well, it's a token Hispanic. Oh yeah, we're going to run in a marginally, Hispanic seat. What's that?
Yeah, what's
That means that we can't compete in any other city.
that?
So, so the party needs to do a better job at that. I think that, I want to talk about the challenges for us. I know that my thoughts are a little bit unorganized, and I may not be as fluid as some of the other speakers, but again, I want to talk about the structural problems, not, you know, the 30,000 foot, you know, issues. We need to demand and to be recognized as conservatives, not just Hispanics. That's one of the takeaways that I want to leave you with. I also want to encourage you all, and I know that most of the people in this room already do, that if you don't contribute, contribute, because you need to have skin in the game, and that a lot of that, you know, skin is money on the table. If you do contribute, please, and I know that a lot of you are major contributors to the party and to Republican candidates. If you contribute, don't allow yourself to be viewed as simply a checkbook. You need to demand that there is a comprehensive, coordinated Hispanic coalition effort done. And that when you give your check to the party or to a member or to a candidate, you need to talk about these issues if this is an issue of importance to you. If you don't do that, they're just going to take that money and it's just going to be, you know, used for other purposes. And they're going to say, hey, thank you very much, and, you know, we'll invite you at the next Cinco de Mayo party. One of the last points that I want to talk about, obviously the previous panel spoke a lot about immigration. Immigration is an important issue, there's no doubt about it, and we need to be able to speak appropriately on the issue of immigration. And I definitely agree with Mr. Greg Walsher on the Pupil Foundation's approach to immigration. But immigration is not the end-all be-all of our existence, as I mentioned before. And if people are really looking at an issue, immigration is going to be a passé issue. The issue that really confronts us as a Hispanic community is the war. I'm not talking about the war in the Middle East. I'm not talking about the war between how conservatives view Hispanics and how Hispanics view conservatives. I'm talking about something very real that a lot of people really aren't talking about. And that is the border violence that's happening between Mexico and the United States. Central American gangs are moving up into Mexico, and they're using the border cities as platforms in order to launch their drug operations into the United States. That's a security issue. Immigration is not a security issue. That gang violence and that drug issue, that's a real issue. And that's what we really need to be focused on when we speak about about security. Part of the problem with, and I don't want to go into too much of a tangent, but the problem is that in the past, in the 2005-2006 cycle, what happened was they rolled a bunch of different issues and they called it immigration. It's not the case. Okay, you had, as Greg Walsher pointed out, immigration has subset issues of the economic component with guest worker, citizenship, and then there also is the bona fide security issues that need to be dealt with. But we need to be dealt with. They need to be dealt with separately in a coordinated fashion. So, you know, with that, I will, you know, just conclude my remarks. And if there are any other questions, or if you want to catch me afterwards and speak more specifically about some of these issues, I'd be more than happy to do so.